Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Hope you're all having a great day today. Today we're going to check out the new PRS SE CE from the good folks at Paul Reed Smith Guitars. Let's go ahead and check this out. Okay, so what we've got here is the SE version of the PRS CE, which is their bolt-on model. It is a model that has been in production for about 20 plus years. I think they started that model sometime in the 90s and then discontinued for a little bit and bought it back again. And it's super nice to see it introduced as part of the SE line. Now, talking about PRS SEs, I personally haven't gotten my hands on a brand new PRS SE in a long time, actually about a decade. The last one being the PRS SE Sagmeyer's model that was announced August 2013, which I remember I saw the drop and I was so invested in it. I was like, oh, this looks amazing. And I went ahead and pre-ordered it and eventually got it sometime between the end of 2023 and the start of 2024. But this guitar is a very interesting one that we got here. So I'll tell you the specs from what I know to be true, and we'll just gloss over all of those details. First off, we have a beautiful vintage sunburst finish. So that is you can see it's a flame veneer that it's got a maple top. Something that I really like, great feature there. You can see the binding is sort of a flame maple. So it gives you that aesthetical perception that you have a flame maple cap. So that's a really good feature, and I love seeing that. Three-way switch, one volume, one tone. The tone is the push-pull. Two 8515S pickups, which is the import version of the PRS 8515 pickups. You have the PRS import bridge, which is a very good trem system. 24 medium frets, nickel frets that we have on a rosewood fretboard with the mother of pearl bird inlays, as well as this is a very nice kind of throwback to the old CEs. It's got a black overlay on the headstock, much like the older CEs did as well. And then we just have your standard PRS SE tuners, and the design by Cortec out of Indonesia for PRS guitars, and a hard rock maple neck. And I think I got all of my features here pointed out. Oh, one thing that I do want to mention is the cutaway is different from the usual CE cutaway. Now, I don't know if that was done as a way to experiment with something new. I think it's comfortable. I don't see there's anything wrong with it. The fret access feels pretty good. It's a little more rounded than the other one. Some people might assume that might be PRS's way of like separating the expensive guitar from the cheaper one. That might be true. Or it might just be they're trying out new things and they don't want to take the or I should say take the risk on their more expensive models. One other thing, it's really hard to see. There's part of the cutaway is just slightly different. I'll see if I can get a good comparison for you guys on screen so you can see what I'm talking about. But this is a very beautiful guitar. In my mind, it was the one that looks closest to the core model out of the three options. And it's just primarily because of the color of the pickup rings. But yeah, it's a very interesting guitar. And so what I'd like to do now is just give you some distorted, some clean tones, some lead tones. And then we'll open up the rear plates just to see what we got going on there and give you my final thoughts after I do all that. So let's move on with the video. Before we continue to listen to some more tone samples, I just wanted to give you some additional information on the guitar. So I've weighted the guitar and it weighs 7.6 pounds, so it's relatively light. I also wanted to go ahead and just show you guys what that neck shape is like at the first fret as well as the 12th fret. So you can kind of see it here traced out. This is the first fret, so it's a C shape. And then at the 12th fret, opens up just a little bit more. I've actually gone ahead and traced this for you, although it's a little hard to do with this, but I'll put a screenshot of that in the video. It's a 4 out of 5 here because you can feel a few frets here, and maybe a 4.5 out of 5 here. So pretty good overall, pretty consistent. Now I wanted to remove the back plates as well and kind of show you guys what that looks like. And of course I'll put screenshots on the video, but might as well go ahead and take care of those now while we're at it. Always make sure you got this going the right way. These back plates aren't recessed. You don't have to be flush with the body, but I can understand why some people like it. For me, it's just easier to get out if it's not. So, see, just like that. So the route is pretty clean. I'm seeing that for the first time myself. It looks pretty good. We also have a pretty big block there on the trans, so that's a nice and welcome sign. We have 4 springs. Doesn't seem to be any conductive paint or anything of the sort or any shielding, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and take care of the electronics cover now. Okay, let's see what we got with the electronics. All right, so I'm seeing what seems to be full-sized alpha pods. I'll take close-ups of this for you guys. Yeah, definitely a full-sized alpha pod there. And lots of conductive shield paint. And it's pretty clean as well. So all in all, one more thing that's left for us to do is just measure this guitar. So we want to check what we got as far as the scale length go. And this is exactly 25 inches. So not 25.5. And then the thickness of the body is just under 2 inches. It's about 1.8 inches. So it's a little thinner than a typical Les Paul body, which is usually around 2 inches. And then the guitar from its bottom point to its highest point is 39 inches long, and check right here, 13.5 inches. So that should work for you guys if you want to know what kind of bag or case to get for it, although it already comes with one, just in case you want to change it. And then, yeah, let's go back to the video, give you some more tone samples. One thing I want to call out is that the pickups on the PRS SE CE guitar sound a little bit shrill and fizzy to me, and are honestly a little bit disappointing. It might be hard to tell on the samples that you've heard so far, but I prepared a quick 40-second comparison where I played the PRS SE CE and the PRS SE Mark Holcomb, review coming soon, using the same Roland Cube 80XL amplifier with the same settings on the same extreme metal channel with the same microphone. I do want to call out headphone users, beware when the PRS SE CE comes on, but listen to the comparison and tell me what you think. Okay, so you've heard the guitar in a clean, distorted, and lead tone. I showed you the specs. I'm going to show you some close-ups now, but as I am talking, I want to go over a few things. Number one is I actually own a American core version of this guitar, the CE. So I figured this would be a very fun and interesting one to get, just to see how close or how distant they can get away from the core or the more expensive line. And right now, this guitar retails for $699, but it kind of as an introductory offer, and just PRS doing a sale in general until the end of the year. They're selling these for 20% less, so the price is $559. $559 is a really good deal considering what you're getting. And considering the history of kind of the PRS SE price points, or at least as far back as I can remember, my first introduction to PRS SE guitars was around 2002, 2003 maybe. And I remember those SEs being about $599. So the fact that you can get one for 40 bucks less than that is pretty impressive. And obviously some of the fit and finish, some of the quality behind it, and some of the use of CNC machinery has been able to like polish the designs and the builds a little bit more. Although I will make some comments about my experiences comparing this to some of the World Musical Co. stuff that I was more used to. I've owned a lot of PRS SE guitars, most of them made out of Korea. This is the first Core-Tech model that I've gotten my hands on for a considerable amount of time. And so I also want to walk you through my opinion on how that differs. But $559 price point, and you get a very, very close, from an aesthetical standpoint, this is super close to the Core version. Obviously, the carve on the Core version is deeper, but this carve is much nicer than what they've done with PRS SE guitars in the past. So that is nice. The guitar plays really nicely out of the box. Pretty good action. We're talking about 2 millimeters at the 6th string on the 12th fret, and about 1.5 on the 1st string on the 12th fret. So very good. The bridge system is excellent, so I very much like that. You got your volume and tone taper, feels very nice. Switch is fine. Push pull, keep going for the wrong one. And then we've got the binding, which is one of my favorite aesthetical features. I think that flame maple binding looks fantastic, and I hope they do it on all their SE guitars. The neck is very similar to the American version. I won't compare the two too much on this video. If you'd like me to do like a full-on comparison between the two, let me know and I'd be glad to make a video about it. But the neck is similar, and in more than anything, it feels very comfortable. The fretwork seems to be very good. The ends are, for the most part, pretty soft, pretty smooth. I don't feel any sharp ends. The tuners work. They hold tuning relatively well. The nut works, again, relatively well. Those are always, for me, the nut is one of those things that I change on most guitars unless it comes with a really good one and it's cut well. The tuners work perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with them. Some people might not appreciate that the back plates aren't flush into the body. I don't really care much about that, but I know some people do, so I figured I might as well call it out. As far as this guitar, I think for the price is very good. The one thing that I'm not super in love with is the pickups. I don't think they sound bad, and it's kind of interesting that I feel that way about it because they get those pickups sourced by a company called G&B. I think it's Korean made, but I could be wrong. And I've always felt like they've done a really good job at recreating the original US version of the pickups. They don't exactly sound the same, but they get pretty close in my experience. However, with these, I just felt like they were a little uninspiring, to say the most, really, not the least. But I just don't feel like that hi-fi sound that I'm typically used to getting from PRS. It still sounds good. It's a PAF style pickup. It's got a decent amount of output. Most people would probably not feel the need to change the pickup right away. But in my case, that would be one of the upgrades that I would make. And then the other one would be the nut. I think the tuners work fine. The trem system is excellent. I don't understand why some people change it on the SD guitars. And the finish looks really nice. So all in all, it's a really nice guitar. Now, when comparing it to the PRS SE guitars that were being made out of World Musical Co., which I owned a lot of and traded for a lot of, I think the build quality on the Korean ones, in my experience, is just a little better in terms of the finish work and some of the paint and whatnot. There isn't a lot going on. I'll put close-ups of anything I find, but I do find like those were just a little bit better in that sense. I also find that the fretwork in general, like how level the frets are and how well the fret ends are done, were just slightly better on the World Musical Co. Counterparts, but they moved production because it was getting expensive and they wanted to keep these in a competitive price point. And again, I remember a PRS SE being $599 like 20 years ago, and the fact that you can get one like this with a lot of improvements feature-wise over that model 20 years later, in my opinion, is pretty impressive. I know it's a sale price, but still worth a mention. Another thing I don't care for is the stock strings. I'm sorry, PRS, I like you guys. I'm a big PRS guy, but I don't like your strings. I don't think they have a lot of life in them. And I remember seeing a comparison from someone, can't remember who the YouTuber was, but he compared a bunch of strings, and the PRS strings were matched up to like the Harley Benton set of strings, and he preferred those. So, I'm not the only one that thinks so. But all in all, it's a good quality guitar. Another thing I want to comment on, we're going to call this, I don't think it's a negative. it is a fair price point. But the back that comes in with the guitar is decent, but not great. It used to be great. It used to be really good. The Cordura, I think that's what they call it, Cordura or whatever. SE bag used to be like thicker padding, but for some reason the new one is just a little thinner. That might be a cost cutting thing. The way of the world, unfortunately, everything's just more expensive, so it's hard to keep the same level of quality, I guess, for the price. But overall, this package I think is a really good one. $559. You get a guitar that feels good, plays nice, sounds relatively good. Again, if it was up to me, I would change the nut, I would change the pickups, and just get a slightly better gig back, because I'm not a fan of that gig back. But all in all, great package for the money. Definitely, if you've been interested in checking one of these out, I would recommend that you do. That's it for the video. Hope you enjoyed it and hope it was educational. I've been Raf. You've been great. If you like the content, leave me a comment, like, subscribe, do all that stuff, because it helps me continue to give you more videos just like this one. So I'll see you all in the next video. Take care and have a great rest of your day.